The New York Jets have a new starting quarterback. Justin the Jet Fields. A suitable nickname for a quarterback as explosive, as athletic as Justin Fields. The upside is tangible. In this video, I'm going to describe and react and give you my thoughts on why I don't love this move for the Jets, but I understand this move for the Jets. Grunt, spike the like button. Let me know in the comments where you stand on Justin Fields. Are you a fan of this move for the New York Jets? Jets. Or do you think this is going to make them even worse? Let me know in the comment section below, and let's talk about it. Justin Fields, a quarterback that was in the same draft class as Zach Wilson, believe it or not, has been signed to a 2-year deal worth $40 million. And if I am correct, it's $30 million guaranteed, which might be the shocking part of all of this because they are committing to Justin Fields as their quarterback. And that's exactly what Fields wanted. Last year, he got played with the Steelers. They brought him in. They brought in Russell Wilson. Fields learned from Mike Tomlin, but he also never really got a great shot at starting for the Steelers. He started early in the year, and then he was yanked despite his winning record. Russell Wilson was given the show for the rest of the season, and even with Russell Wilson failing and struggling, Fields never got another shot. So he wanted the security, and the Jets gave him that security with this contract for at least the next year or two. And it's interesting because this new regime for the Jets comes from Detroit, right? Aaron Glenn's going to be their new head coach. He's a defensive-minded guy. And their offensive coach also coming from Detroit. So when I'm thinking of this new system, I'm thinking of a run-based, play-action-based offense that heavily targets the middle of the field, kind of like what Jared Goff would bring. But when you bring in a Justin Fields, you bring in a different dimension. You bring in the aspect of an athlete. And in order to use Justin Fields to his best, you've got to use him as a runner because that's where he's electric. That's where he's been his best in his NFL career, right? Justin Fields has had great moments as a runner in the NFL. You look at his rushing statistics. I mean, he had an 1,100-yard season in his second year in the NFL with the Chicago Bears. He had 657 yards in his third season in the NFL, right? He led the NFL in yards per attempt in 2022 with 7.1. He had 5.3 in 2023, and last year 4.7. A lot of that because he was brought into short yardage situations where obviously teams knew he was going to run the ball, okay? He's limited as a drop-back passer. So in order to use Justin to his best, you've got to use him as an athlete. You've got to get him outside the pocket. You've got to allow him to use his big arm to throw the ball down the field. And you've got to have vertical playmakers. Now, the Jets don't really have vertical playmakers. I'm intrigued to see how they use him in space, how they look to design the running game around Justin Fields. They've got two awesome running backs, Breece Hall and Allen. So that's a nice little backfield there to run the football. And maybe Aaron Glenn envisions a team that if he can't have a high-end quarterback, right, they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to have an athletic quarterback who hopefully limits the turnovers because Fields' ability to move, in theory, allows him to avoid turnovers. He doesn't really put the ball in harm's way, but that's also at really the harm of not making big plays as well. Right? He hasn't been great at not throwing picks. Like rookie season, he threw 10. That's fine. 11 interceptions in 2022, 9 in 2023 when he played 10 starts, 15 starts, 13 starts. That's not great. He also gets sacked a lot. 55 sacks led the NFL in 2022. 36 sacks in 2021, 44 sacks in 2023. He did limit the sacks last year, and he did limit the turnovers last year. He got better in both of those areas. 16 sacks in his 6 starts last season. His passer rating also went up to 93 in the limited starts. His yards per completion went down. His yards per attempt, or air yards per attempt, went up, okay? But his yards per completion went down. His touchdown interception ratio, 5-1, is better. But again, he had limited starts. His completion percentage went up as well. So in Pittsburgh, he threw a lot more quick passes, a lot more screens. He got the ball out of his hands a lot more. Maybe that's an element that they'll look to do in New York, right? A good way to look at him is kind of like how they used him against the Lions in the past, which I think is where Aaron Glenn was influenced to get this guy as their quarterback, because he had such difficulty defending him, right? The dimension that he can bring is you involve those quick screens, you involve that quick horizontal game, and you complement that with his ability to run, his ability to be a great athlete, his ability to scramble, then you complement that with the occasional deep shot. If you can limit his game to the quick game and the vertical game, you can get something out of Justin Fields. It's when you have the drop back setting of you're down in a game, you're down scores, you need him to drop back and read a defense, you need him to go from 1 to 2 to 3, you need him to be accurate and precise and timely on every single snap. That's where he gets in trouble. That's where he tends to throw bad passes. His mechanics get wonky. He holds onto the ball. He gets sacked. He gets strip sacked. Fumbles are an issue for him as well in the past. So if he can limit those turnovers, limit those sacks, play through his defense, run the football effectively, and they can get the most out of the athlete, I like Justin Fields, the guy. Justin Fields, the guy, is not the problem. I've always had a problem with Justin Fields, the passer. And that's where I think I don't like this contract. I don't like this move, because I don't think Justin Fields is a top 32 passer in the NFL. I think he is a top 32 quarterback because he's such a dynamic runner, but he's certainly on the bottom end of that spectrum. He is a bad passer, right? So that's me being objective. Okay, in his NFL career, he's only played 4 years. He's still got a lot of time to develop. He's still young. He's a 1999, right? He's still very young, right? He is 26 years old, and he just turned 26. Like, he's a young 26, right? 29th as a rookie. He was graded out of 37 quarterbacks by PFF. 23rd out of 39 in 2022. 21st in 2023 was an uptick. And then 2024, a little bit down, 27th, despite really having his best statistical season on a per-game basis with the Steelers last year. He was also 9th in rushing grade last season, so still showing his promise there. He's a really cool-looking player. He's 6'3", 228, pretty slim, but got big shoulders, broad shoulders. He's got long arms, cool-looking athlete. Wears the visor. I mean, he'll sell jerseys because he is a slick-looking player. Definitely has the aesthetic down. Jets fans will like that. He's not going to be a drama queen like Aaron Rodgers. That's another area that you're probably going to like him. And I feel like I've never really heard bad from teammates of Justin Fields. I think analysts and people that look deep into the quarterback position, that analyze his passing abilities, I think aren't the biggest on Justin Fields. But I feel like his teammates always seem to be engaged and like Justin Fields because he is such a great athlete, and like that kind of goes over well with other players. Like just watching him play, he's got a cool style of play to him. And like I said, we saw Sam Darnold just break out at 28, 27 years old. We saw Geno Smith break out in his 30s. Sometimes guys take a little bit longer, even when they're as athletic and as highly touted as Justin Fields, right? Like, guys can take some time to really develop. So when looking at his PFF stuff, he was graded as the worst quarterback in Pittsburgh. Russ was looked at as the better player, and Russ had better stats. He had 6 big-time throws and 6 turnover-worthy plays. So even there, right, he had a 65.8 completion percentage. He was pressured 78 times and a pressure to sack of 20.5, which is pretty high. And a concerning part of his game is time to throw. His time to throw 3.08, which was one of the worst in the league. It was third longest in the league, right? That's above Sam Darnold, Deshaun Watson, Caleb Williams, guys that hold on the ball a long time. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson were the only ones with a higher time to throw, and Jalen Hurts has the best O-line in football, and Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. Fields, you need to be able to hone that in. You can't have him taking that many sacks. You can't have him holding the ball that long. That's why quick passes, screens, RPOs will be, I think, heavily utilized in this offense. And I feel like when he does throw the ball, you want him to be heavily protected. You want him to have, like 6-man protections, play action, heavy fake, use his big frame and his big arm to get the ball down the field. Limit his ability, his vision to read multiple routes. Don't have a lot of option routes, things where it's like crossers, deep posts, go balls. You get him outside the pocket. You take the field in half. You have him read half the field. Those are areas where Fields are good. I'm never sure he's ever going to have the mental capacity to be a great drop back passer. I'm never sure he's going to be accurate enough to be a great drop back passer. But in terms of his athleticism, if you can utilize that in the right way, he has upside. And he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear as a runner either. It's not like he has a ton, right? He's got a little bit. He had an 1,100-yard season, right? 160 attempts in 2022, 124 in 2023. But I still think he's got a couple years left of that dynamic nature of running the ball. So a 2-year contract does make sense for Fields. You give him a look, basically. You give him an assessment. You see, okay, is this guy going to develop at all? Can we give him the quarterback spot here on a rebuilding team to some degree? And can we at 26 years old, can we get him to break out by the time he's 28? And then we can reward him again. So it's not like you're giving him a 3, 4, 5-year contract with a crazy amount of money. I will say, though, if this goes poorly, like the Jets are going to be like the worst team in the league. Like if Fields does not play well at all, that's also maybe a good thing, right? You could look at this in different ways. It might be a couple more frustrating seasons for the Jets, but at the same time, you're rolling the dice on an upside option at the position where if it doesn't work, it could be disastrous to the point where you're picking in the top 3. Like if Fields is a bad quarterback still and he never develops, you could be a really bad team. So there's part of that as well, where it's like you're not overexposing yourself to a quarterback contract. It's not like you can't get out of this contract. It's not that egregious. So you're taking a dice roll on a guy with upside, with physical playmaking traits, but at the same time, if it doesn't work, you could be in a good position to draft the next quarterback. Or maybe he's even a bridge quarterback to the next quarterback, right? So there's also that. So there's appeal in that regard, which maybe I didn't really think of right off the top. But that's something to think about if you're a Jets fan. So yeah, I think Fields is a limited passer. I think he's an upside athlete, and he's still young. So I'm willing to say, I understand this move. At the same time, Jets fans, I wouldn't be super pumped. If I had to guess, I don't think Fields will be your franchise quarterback long term. I don't think he's going to work out because I just think he has too many flaws as a passer. He's never shown an ability to develop his mental game. He's never shown an ability to avoid the long taking sacks, fumbles. When he is exposed to more pass rush reps and more drop back reps, he turns it over. So I think there's things that are going to be really egregious and kind of annoying about his game. But at the same time, he's also kind of fun to watch when he's at his best, which makes the team fun to watch and at least watchable, even if they're bad. But they've got to fully commit to his style of play if they want this to work out in New York. So I'm intrigued to see where they go with this, how this works out. But I will say, not a huge fan of the player, in my personal opinion. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think of Justin Fields to the Jets. You think this is the right move, the wrong move? Gronk spike the like button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this discussion, check out the BLV Discord. Link is in the pinned comment. It's absolutely free. This is where a lot of NFL fans go that watch my channel, that like to react to NFL news and NFL stuff every single day. So check that out. Peace.